Whoa, I don't care what anybody says, that's way better than a shuttlecraft. No replicator. Mr. O'Brien, there are no replicators on this planet. Tea, Earl Grey, hot.
Transport it up your ass, you blowhard.
Hello everyone and welcome back. Today I'm here with an early verdict on Star Trek Infinite by Paradox Entertainment. So sit back and let's take a look at Paradox's newest offering, shall we? Released October 12, 2023 to mixed reviews, Star Trek Infinite is a 4X grand strategy game. You may recognize Paradox as they're the minds behind Stellaris and among other pretty popular games. Stellaris is another 4X grand strategy space game that's been around for quite some time now. If you're not familiar with Stellaris, it's basically take control of a species and terrorize the galaxy to your heart's content, enslave entire civilizations, and rule with an iron fist. Or don't. It's up to you. However, if you are familiar with Stellaris, then you already have a good idea of what this game is like, and I think that's what has hurt the reception of this game. People are looking at this through Stellaris tinted glasses, which is fine, but for me, I'm going to set my Stellaris tinted glasses aside and view this from a Star Trek point of view. I feel that there are things on offer from Infinite that you can't get from mods in Stellaris. Do I know this for sure? No. Stellaris is a game I haven't modded, simply because I enjoy the base game. Did I try my best to recreate Star Trek universe races in Stellaris? Yes. Did it work out? I guess so. In the end, I was still playing Stellaris with dollar Star Trek races. And that was always an immersion killer. No ship models, species, etc. Like I said, I'm sure there's mods to remedy this, but for me, it would still be playing Stellaris. So right off the bat, this is a Paradox-style grand strategy game, but it's Star Trek. Once you get into the game, you'll feel right at home if you spend any time in Stellaris. I'm gonna try and not mention Stellaris anymore. The games are laid out almost identically. Infinite is pretty much a copy, which is fine. The other game for me is laid out and presented quite well, so for Infinite to be presented the same way is a plus for me. That other game is established and it has a good core to it, so I feel it was a good move to slap a Star Trek skin on it. That's where a lot of complaints are pointing to. It's just Paradox's other grand strategy game with a paid Star Trek mod. Yeah, okay, I can see that, and that's a fair assessment to a certain extent. But there are things, subtle things that remind me that this is in fact a Star Trek game through and through. So far anyway, I've put just over 4 hours into this game as of writing this script. I do plan on doing a deeper dive into this at a later date. Like I said, there are subtle things at play here. Like for instance, at a certain early point in the other game that shall not be mentioned, I fully expect to be strong-armed to be a vassal or die. The universe is a cold and harsh place and you have to fight to survive. Star Trek Infinite seems to be a bit different in the sense that the universe is more Star Trek-y. Like for instance, the Romulans right off the bat didn't come at me all like, hey, we're the Romulans, we're super strong and you can die now, as they cut a swath through Federation space, displaying the broken hull of my ship on the Romulan homeworld. No. Instead, they kept to themselves, constantly spying on me. Oh, and they took Kittimer at the start of the game. So yeah, Star Trek-y stuff. All while this is happening, I'm exploring the galaxy as the Federation, studying anomalies, working on my diplomacy, and making sure I'm on the right path to create an idyllic society for all the subjects within the Federation. All while my ships are buzzing around, going about their various tasks. The ship models in this game are spot on, and I absolutely love watching these models do their thing. They are faithfully and accurately recreated in Infinite. Speaking about faithfully recreated ships, this brings me to something I legit squealed at when it was unlocked and presented to me. The Enterprise, captained by the legend himself, Jean-Luc Picard.
Sir, there's another starship coming in. It's the Enterprise.
About 2 hours into my first playthrough, my absolute favorite ship shows up. Now I thought this was just an awesome touch. You gain the Galaxy class ship, and instead of this being a fully military vessel, which is actually what I was expecting it to be, this thing can actually function as a multi-use ship. It can research anomalies, perform missions, and the more you use it, the more you can upgrade it by adding in the next generation crew for added bonuses. I found this to be an awesome touch and just added another layer of separation from that other game that Paradox is known for. This is just one layer of a Star Trek history-rich cake. There are events that happen which has me pointing at my monitor like Leo saying, "I remember that," or "Hey, I remember that species, they were mentioned in like one episode." I feel that is what really sets Infinite apart from the other game it's based off of. Now, I'm no other space game expert. I do enjoy it and I have logged a few hundred hours into it, but every single one of those few hundred hours are spent with that lingering thought in the back of my mind. I wish there was a Star Trek version of this. And for me, that's what I feel is offered here. Star Trek has been faithfully recreated in the other Paradox 4X grand space strategy game layout, but it's not all rainbows and unicorn farts. There are things that I feel are lacking. Not game breaking, but these are things I feel that should have been obvious to add in but weren't for some reason. The biggest one is, why the fuck isn't the Federation UI in the LCARS format? Like seriously, a UI experience stylized based off the species you're playing. Seems like an obvious ad, but they really missed the boat on this one. For me, that has to be my number one gripe this early on. Otherwise, up to this point, I have yet to experience any sort of bugs or crashes or other major gripes that are not merely surface level complaints. Like some of the music. While I like the music, some of it just doesn't really give me Star Trek vibes. I don't know. Again, it's not major and it doesn't take me out of the game too much. Hell, if I can sit through the J.J. Abrams Star Trek movies, this is no big deal. In conclusion, I am absolutely loving this game. My complaints are minimal and trivial up to this point. I like what's on offer here and I'm only scratching the surface. There are still 3 other races to try out and to see how the Star Trek experience works for those. I feel, while similar to that other game, this feels just like how I think a Star Trek game would play if done well. And yes, I think this game is done well. It could use some polish, sure, but the game just came out, so I'm going to give it some time to simmer and see how it ages over the next few weeks. You know, let the just released dust settle and see if the devs release some kind of roadmap. Star Trek Infinite is off on the right foot, and I am hopeful for its future. For die-hard Star Trek fans such as myself, I feel like it's worth the money. It's not as brutal as that other game, and it has that distinctive true Star Trek feel that I'm sure will have you coming back for more time and time again. If you're not a die-hard Star Trek fan and are more of a general 4X grand space strategy game fan, I feel you're better off sticking with that other one Paradox has. You may not enjoy this as it sits right now. Well, that's it as always. Thanks for watching. If you've made it this far, you're a champ and I love you very much. I hope to see you back for the next one. So until that time, enjoy life on Risa and take it easy, eh?